So, today I thought I would share some stories about my experience in boarding school. These aren't really ballet related, they're just stories that I think are funny or kind of give you an idea of what it was like to grow up in that environment and some of the weird things that you do. So, at my school, sometimes the food wasn't great. I understand that the kitchen staff had to feed a lot of kids and adults actually as well. And that's no easy task at all. I definitely couldn't do it. But, sometimes it just really wasn't great, especially if you've done a whole day of dancing and you're really tired and you just want to go and have a meal that you're going to enjoy and you get there and it's something that looks inedible. It's not the best feeling. To compensate for this, we would snack a lot, anything we could get our hands on, whether it was having like 10 slices of toast in the evening or collecting biscuits like some kind of squirrel, like stocking up for hibernation with nuts. We would do anything we could to try and get extra food when it was a really bad day in the canteen. One of the best things to snack on in the evening, though, was the cereal. Now, originally, we used to just be able to go into the canteen in the evening and just go into the cupboards where they kept all the cereals stored ready for breakfast the next morning, and we would just take whatever we wanted. However, once they caught on to that, none of the staff were particularly impressed, so they ended up putting a bunch of locks and alarms on the canteen so that if you tried to get in, an alarm would go off and everyone within like a 10-mile radius would be notified. That's how loud the alarm was. However, there was a way to get in. It became like trying to complete a secret mission, like full Joey Essex style. There was only one particular route in which you could get into the canteen without getting caught. So we would sneak in down like a side kind of alleyway, climb through an iron gate. Now, we didn't like climb over the gate. We, at the time, would climb through the gate, like through the ironwork. That's how desperate the need for cereal was, which is insane. It's never that serious. We would then sneak around to the back and there was a coded door and we'd always have to try and like remember what the code was. Anytime we would see someone use the code, we would like make a note of it. Also, because all the lights were off in the canteen, you wouldn't be able to turn the lights on because then anyone walking past could see you were in there. So we would sneak in with our bowls in the dark, creep over to where they kept the cereal, scoop it up as fast as we possibly could, and then run back out. When you would get back to the dorm, the sigh of relief you would feel when you would sit there eating your cereal, the weight off your chest, knowing that you completed your mission without getting caught. I'm aware that sounds kind of ridiculous, but that was the lengths we'd go to for extra food. At my school, it's obviously quite a big campus, feels like it too American of a word to say, but yeah, it's a big campus. And so at the weekends when we were younger, we used to love playing hide and seek. On a Sunday when we were bored and couldn't go out, had nothing to do, we would all just play hide and seek around the school. It was really fun because you just had so many places. You had the ballet studios and the whole academic classroom block. It was always so much fun. The teachers, however, did not really approve of us doing that because we weren't really meant to be running around the academic block on a Sunday, and sometimes certain parts of it would be locked off. You would all start the game and think, I know where I'm going to hide. You'd run to that place and find that the door you needed to get in was locked. So you'd suddenly have to like look around and see where the nearest place you could go was because whoever is coming to find you. That was always a really fun thing to do, but the best time was when we played it and we were the only year group in the school, my year group. It was the day of half term, and for some reason, all the year groups except mine got to go home on, I think it was a Friday, and we had to stay till the Saturday, which was really not cute, but we had the chance to play hide and seek and have the entire school to ourselves. It was completely empty, but the house parent that was on duty that night figured out what we were doing and she immediately stormed over to the academic block where we were all hiding in various corners, and you're curled up under a desk in the maths room or something and suddenly you hear the teacher's voice and you think, oh, run, run. And we all raced back to the dorm trying not to get caught. After this game we were going to watch a movie, so we all congregated in our common room and we're kind of sat there waiting to set up the movie. And then this house parent, we see her marching over. She comes in through the door and she goes in on us. She was like so mad and basically saying, we're immature and we're not allowed to do that, yada yada yada. And we're all just sat there saying nothing. Like, you know, when everyone is just looking at the floor because nobody knows where to look, nobody wants to look at each other because otherwise you're just gonna laugh. That was what was happening in that moment. So every year when they hold auditions at the school, we had this thing called Visits Day where each year group would kind of go somewhere on a day trip, basically to get us out of the school so that they had room for all the people to come in and audition. This usually happened in, I think, around like March. So one Visits Day, we go out, I think, where did we go that year? I think we went to the Globe or something. It starts snowing. And we're all like, oh my god, this is so cool. Hopefully it will have settled like by the time we get back so we can play in the snow. But we also had lessons scheduled after we got back from the trip, which felt really unfair because we'd spent the whole day out like having fun with our friends, like relaxed, just like doing nothing, just having a good time. And for us to come back and then suddenly have to switch gears and go into a lesson and concentrate, it just didn't feel like it was achievable at that point. So when we're on the coach on the way back to school, we're all sat there with our fingers crossed, like hoping and praying that our lesson gets cancelled. There were plenty of times that we hoped for things like that to happen, but they never did. It just seemed impossible, hoping for the best, expecting the worst. But for once, it actually happened. Our lessons were cancelled. So we got back and we got to just go and play in the snow. Like outside on the front garden of the school, we were just all there having like a huge snowball fight. It was a great time. Now, one individual, however, decided to ruin the fun and throw a snowball at one of the studios. Threw a snowball at a glass window. It didn't break, but I think one of the teachers clocked it and they just lost it. And at that point they said, right, get inside now, everybody. Mind you, the entire school is outside, like 5-year groups, year 7 to 11. And they're like, get inside right now. So nobody's impressed by this. I actually, at that moment, as we were walking inside, I yelled, I hate this school. Absolutely zero chill on my end. So anyways, we all trudge inside, like covered in snow, clothes damp. But me and my friends are determined to get back outside and not have the fun stop. So we all congregate in the dorm and we fully set out like a plan. We're like, right, we're going to go outside in groups of 3. One group go at once, sneak out, and then after 10 minutes, the next group is going to come, and then yada yada yada. Thinking this would work, like thought we were geniuses, like thought this was some kind of MI6 operation. So one group goes outside, and we're like, oh my god, yes, we're going to do it. We're going to trick these silly teachers. Oh my god. Obviously it didn't work. They get caught almost instantly. They run back to the dorm. We hear the teacher coming down the corridor. Now, this is the thing. A lot of the time in boarding school, you would hear like a teacher coming, and the instinct was never to actually act natural. Everybody would just like scatter like rats, literally like rodents. You'd just see everyone like zoom back to their rooms. That was an end to the snow day fun. But it is a very like treasured memory of mine just because it was the one time when we hoped our afternoon would get cancelled and it actually happened. One time, this was when I was in year 11, we were in one of the studios doing a mock exam. We finish it and then the teacher who is supervising it basically says, oh, we need you to go into this studio instead of going back to our dorms or our lessons. But basically we had to go and congregate somewhere else for some reason. And we were thinking, oh, okay. So we all gather in this one studio and eventually the whole school ends up in there. And we're all thinking like, oh, what's going on? There's something wrong in the kitchen. We all thought maybe it was a fire, but I don't think it was that. I think there was some kind of gas leak in the kitchen. But because they didn't know how dangerous it was, they needed us to stay as far away from it. And basically our dorms were closer to the kitchen in terms of where they were on the campus, and we were kind of on the other side in the studio. So they made everybody just hang out in the studio. We didn't go back to lessons. We were just chilling there for like an hour or two. But it's getting to lunchtime. And we're thinking, oh, well, if we can't go in the kitchen, like, what are we going to eat? So, in a very surprising move for a ballet school, the staff decide to order Domino's for everyone. And we're thinking, oh my god, we get our lessons off today and we're having pizza? Like, what is going on? We all just assume that it's going to be like this for the whole day. So I'm sat there having like loads of pizza, as much as I can, enjoying life. Like I said, the food a lot of the time wasn't great. So this was stellar. And then all of a sudden, right as I feel my stomach, bulge out, I'm feeling full, ready to have a cat nap, one of the head staff come in and basically say, it's fixed now, you can go back to lessons, which for our year group was just in time for ballet class. So I had stuffed my face with Dominoes, literally felt like sick, because I thought, we're not going to do anything else for the rest of the day. And then now you're telling me I have to put on my leotard and tights and get in a studio and move. One of the worst classes I have ever done. I mean, I've done quite a few bad classes, but that one was pretty down there. Just felt so ill. It was not fun at all. Do not recommend. Those are some random stories. I hope you enjoyed this little sneak peek into some of my boarding school experiences. There's many more. Those are just a few that I thought are mildly entertaining and slightly weird, odd, wacky. But it is a very weird, odd, wacky experience. So, thought it was best to share those. I will see you in the next one. Bye!